Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, and right now at 5, supervisors have a full plate today, discussing a range of issues from bringing on new nurses to care for those sick with coronavirus to how to increase the county fire fund by millions of dollars.
Plus, Democratic state lawmakers unveil a $100 billion economic stimulus plan, including something called future tax vouchers. We'll explain how they work.
Current schools are bracing for an uptick in students losing their homes in the midst of the pandemic. We'll tell you what they're doing to get ready to help kids and families in need. This is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. Good morning. It is 5 a.m. and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen along with Alex Fisher, and we have a lot to get to today. There is a lot going on. One thing that is not happening, though, is any relief from this heat. At least that's what I hear.
Yeah, absolutely not. Let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who has a look at your forecast on this Tuesday, and it's going to be another hot day here in Kern County.
Yeah, we're not going to get much relief as we go throughout the next 7 days. In fact, our high yesterday was 101. We're going to bump things up a little bit today as well. Right now, we're starting out into those 70s under the clear skies, 77 degrees for Bakersfield right now. No winds to talk about. If we see a wind, it'll be light as we go throughout the day. And our dog walk forecast by 8 a.m., 84 degrees. And you can see we're going to be right on the edge of keeping the dogs indoor by 11. And then throughout the afternoon, you can see temperatures rise to about 102, putting 103 out there this afternoon. 63 degrees in Tehachapi at this time. You have a light wind out of the west-northwest at 3, and hour by hour, starting out in those 60s and then right near 90 as we head into the 3 o'clock hour. I'll have much more on your forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. At the federal level, time is up for many Americans who have relied on extra unemployment benefits over the last several months as part of the previous stimulus plan. Congress has not legally extended the lifeline, but Senate Republicans have unveiled a new plan. 17's Karen Watt breaks it down for you.
For Californians, this is the first week there will not be an extra $600 for those on unemployment. That benefit expired over the weekend, and the new plan offers less money.
At the end of the day, you got to take care of today. You got to feed your family today. You got to pay PG&E today. You got to keep everything running today. But this should be at least a wake-up call to a lot of us that maybe we're kind of caught, left out in the cold.
Last week, the number of people on unemployment rose for the first time since March. In the HEALS Act, the extra $600 a week has now become $200 a week. This will last through September, and then $200 a week will become 70% of lost wages. So let's say you were making $1,000 a week at your job. On unemployment, you'd get 60% of that, or $600. Under the CARES Act, you'd get an extra $600, giving you a total of $1,200 a week. That means you made $200 more staying at home than working. Now, under the HEALS Act, you'd get an extra $200, totaling $800 a week. That means you'd make $200 less than if you actually worked, incentivizing you to find a job.
I think a lot of people are going to start panicking when stuff can't get paid and, bills start to compound.
The HEALS Act also includes another round of $1,200 stimulus checks for everyone making less than $75,000 a year. This time, the extra $500 for dependents has expanded beyond kids as well.
If you're already living paycheck to paycheck, you got to learn how to stop that. So one, you got to budget so you know what's coming in, what's going out, and start to save, but then get creative and find other ways to make income.
So with $400 less coming in, financial advisors recommend getting creative with money going forward, like turning hobbies into side hustles or getting temporary jobs in construction or e-commerce, both industries hiring right now. You can also negotiate some bills during this time of need, like rent or utilities.
And say, hey, you know what, PG&E, what programs do you have out there that can assist me with my bill?
Companies are more willing to work with you. They just need to know.
If the HEALS Act passes in Congress this week, stimulus checks could go out by mid-August. In Bakersfield, Karen Hua, 17 News.
And Democratic lawmakers in Sacramento unveiled a $100 billion economic stimulus plan yesterday. Lawmakers say the plan accelerates spending from many already available funding streams without raising taxes. It would also involve borrowing from the federal government to boost the state's unemployment benefits program. And Democrats say a key component is something they're calling future tax vouchers, all owing taxpayers to pay taxes for a future budget year at a discounted rate. This year, something they say could raise billions of dollars now to bolster the state's COVID-ravaged economy. More details are expected later today. Now to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak here in Kern County. The Department of Public Health announced 440 new cases yesterday. Since the beginning of this pandemic, there have been more than 15,000 positive tests. Of those, more than half are considered active. 177 people are receiving treatment for the virus in a hospital. 123 people have lost their lives. And here at home, the county's PPE support program is now open. The county is giving out free personal protective equipment to businesses like disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, face masks, and gloves. The application process started Sunday. For more information, you can head to kerncounty.com.
A local farming company is accused of firing employees who sounded the alarm about a deadly coronavirus outbreak at work. The United Farm Workers announced it has filed a complaint against Primex Farms in Wasco. The UFW says one employee has died, another's not expected to survive, while nearly 100 workers at the pistachio processing company have been infected, including their family members. Primex says the number is actually higher than that, with 150 infections, but over half of the employees have returned to work. 17 News first reported the outbreak at Primex in June. Workers walked out in protest and reached out to the UFW for help. The UFW says Primex eventually fired those workers and replaced them.
And unfortunately, the company, instead of dealing with the issue, has chosen to retaliate against workers.
Jesse Rojas, who works in public relations for the company, called the accusations completely false and says the UFW is using the crisis to boost its membership. He says the company isn't commenting on the worker's death to protect the family's privacy.
The company cares 100% about their employees, and the overwhelming majority of the employees that work here today are not very happy with the UFWs right now.
Angie Nunez, a human resources office manager, says Primex has made many changes to improve worker safety, including face masks, temperature checks, and installing plexiglass in parts of the processing plant in Wasco.
Starting later today, farm workers will have access to coronavirus testing. Supervisor David Couch has teamed up with the California Farm Worker Foundation and Good Samaritan Hospital. They're working with growers to test groups of farm workers in certain areas across Kern County. The first test will go to farm workers in Delano, then Lamont on Wednesday, and McFarland on Thursday. Each week, officials will decide on a new schedule for testing.
Well, this week you can give the gift of life and get a gift of your own in return. Houchin Community Blood Bank is offering gift cards to anyone who's recovered from COVID-19 and is willing to donate their blood plasma to help others survive. There are thousands of people who've recovered locally, but Houchin Community Blood Bank says just over 100 COVID-19 survivors have actually donated their blood plasma. Convalescent plasma donors will get a $50 gift card to a local restaurant, and Houchin will hold 2 drawings per day for $500 gift cards. It's happening today through Saturday. If you're interested in donating, call 616-2575.
Welcome back. With the number of homeless families expected to rise dramatically due to the effects of COVID-19, one local program is expanding its efforts to help protect vulnerable children. 17's Taylor Schaub joins us this morning to explain. Good morning, Taylor.
Well, good morning, Alex. And for years, Kern County has been among the leaders in homeless rates among school-aged children. And now with unemployment rates rivaling those of the Great Depression, the county is bracing for an influx of newly homeless students to begin next school year.
Over 5,000 students.
That's how many students were without a permanent home last school year in Kern County, the highest of any county in the Central Valley, and it's only getting worse.
Do we expect the numbers to increase? because of the loss of housing, the loss of jobs, and things like that.
Kurt Williams says the historic unemployment numbers brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic will create a dramatic increase in youth and family homelessness in the upcoming months, especially once state eviction moratoriums and emergency pandemic benefits end later this year.
Some estimates are as high as, the increase of, anywhere from 15 to 25%.
We're in trouble as a community if we see that, because we do not have that capacity anywhere in our county to absorb those numbers.
Lewis Gill is the executive director of the Bakersfield Homeless Center. He says we must reach out to these at-risk kids early and often.
What's really important is that we do everything we can to help that family feel safe, stable, secure, because that's going to affect the well-being of those kids and their ability to perform in school.
That's why KCSOS's McKinley-Vento education program is expanding its outreach efforts, providing additional funding and training to their teachers and support staff.
If it's access to a laptop or a Chromebook or a hotspot or internet, we want to work with them to make sure that they have those services so that they can attend school and be successful.
Because Williams wants every family to know they won't be forgotten.
Right now, life is extremely uncertain, especially with the pandemic going on and all these unusual times. Your child's education doesn't need to be.
Well, Williams says they've created a county-wide online referral form to link families with these services. You can find the link to that form on kget.com. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
Taylor, thank you. Kids might not be heading back to classrooms just yet, but many are still in need of supplies. Happening today in Delano, Kern County Department of Child Support Services is holding a backpack drive. The drive-through event is happening at the Delano Memorial Park this morning at 9 a.m. Parents must have their children with them to receive a backpack and other resources. The drive lasts until 11 a.m. or until supplies last. Kern High School District is extending its meal program to students. The National School Breakfast and Lunch programs are going to continue through the 2020-2021 school year. All students will be served breakfast and lunch at certain schools in the program. You can find the full list of schools on our website, kget.com. Happening tomorrow, the Mission at Kern County is hosting another food distribution for families impacted by COVID-19. The Mission has been handing out protein boxes full of meat and cheese to the community every Wednesday for several weeks now. The meals are provided by the USDA Farm to Families program and designed to feed a family of 6 for 1 week. The Mission will continue the food giveaway every Wednesday from 8:30 a.m. until 10:30 through August.
In Washington, the Republican coronavirus relief plan's already under fire as lawmakers race toward a Friday deadline to renew unemployment. Tracy Potts is in Washington this morning with the latest.
The Republican relief plan,
totally inadequate,
already facing criticism.
We don't even know if Senate Republicans fully support them.
The Senate's top Republican didn't even realize it includes nearly $2 billion for a new FBI headquarters.
I'm not sure that it is it?
The HEALS Act would drop the unemployment bonus from $600 to $200 a week. It provides $1,200 payments to Americans and billions for testing, schools, rental assistance, and back-to-work grants.
The American people don't just want relief, they want opportunity.
There's $6 billion to distribute a coronavirus vaccine.
We've shaved years off of the time that it takes to develop a vaccine.
Moderna got nearly $1 billion from the government. It's entering phase 3 trials.
The safety data thus far looks good, but now it's crunch time. We're trying to figure out, does it actually work?
3 more companies are entering the final testing phase. Dr. Fauci says a vaccine is possible by November. And the White House has confirmed that National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien tested positive. He's the highest-ranking White House official so far to get the disease. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.